as the Zoom allows them to do so. I know sometimes people have a little bit of trouble now and then trying to get Zoom to do as they wish it to do, but it looks like we got a pretty good start on things. It's always good to have a few people on whenever it's time to start so we don't have to wait too long. Greg has generously offered to do our pledge this evening, so we shall start it off with our pledge. And Craig, take it away, sir. All right.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Awesome. Thank you so much, sir. I sure appreciate that. All right. Looks like we have a pretty full schedule tonight, and also looks like all of our roles have been filled. We do have a couple of people that are filling roles that have not shown up yet. I do see, however, that maybe there is a small change. I believe Laura was supposed to speak, and I do not see her on the agenda anymore. Has that changed?
Yes, that's changed. She did send an email that said she wouldn't be able to because she had a last-minute conference or something of that sort, and it had to be moved to that slot.
Okay.
However, as your table topics master tonight, I am prepared with very lengthy questions to fill that space if no one else wants to give a speech. But if you want to, I won't take away the opportunity.
All right. So we do have Pam still that is going to be our speaker. She is now in the second speaker slot, but obviously we'll move up to the first speaker slot unless someone does want to fill that space at this time, which of course would break the heart of Antréa as she has so diligently prepared all these long questions for us to muse over and try to come up with the best answers possible. Does anyone want to take the first speaker spot without joking around? If anyone has anything prepared, they certainly are welcome to step in. Going once, going twice. Not sold. All right. So we will go forward with just one speaker this evening. Let's see how that else is that going to change. So we will have Shankar then being the evaluator, and Donna, you no longer have to be an evaluator because there's no one to evaluate. I mean, you know, you can evaluate your own performance tonight if you'd like to, and that's okay. That's always fun. All right, so tonight the Toastmaster is me. So I will be turning the reins over right now to myself. And at the end of the meeting tonight, to kind of get a little bit of a differentiation, I'm going to ask that the closing segment be taken care of by Shankar, if that's okay with you, sir. So it's not a complete Harlan Fest tonight, and therefore any closing remarks at the end and just the closing down of the meeting, if you'll take care of that for us tonight. Is that okay, Shankar?
Sure.
All right, great. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. All right, so we will roll right into our agenda right now. Welcome everyone to Toastmasters Night. This is the Tri-County Chamber of Commerce Toastmasters Club. We are primarily located in the area of Live Oak, Universal City. However, many of us do live outside of that area, and we have had many guests from all over the country and even in other countries at this time, and we welcome all of those guests. Also have a lot of folks that watch us on Facebook, and that's really cool also. So welcome everyone to our group. We are located in the great state of Texas, and tonight we will learn a few facts about Texas that maybe some of our members don't know, and maybe some of you out there in Facebook don't know. The first thing is Texas is pretty big. You might have learned that before. You might have heard that everything's bigger in Texas, but did you know that there is a ranch in South Texas called the King Ranch that is larger than the entire state of Rhode Island? That's pretty big, folks. Not Rhode Island, but the King Ranch. That's right. King Ranch is pretty big. That is one of the little tidbits I'll teach you about Texas tonight, and we'll learn a few more things as the night goes along. All right, so let's get into what everyone's roles are. Number one, we're going to have our word and grammarian of the day, and that is going to be Mr. Craig Sprout. I'm going to let him tell you what that's all about, and then also tell us what that word of the day is. Craig, take it away, sir.
Good evening, Toastmasters, guests, and friends. As your WAG today, I am your word of the day master, your odd counter, and grammarian. I will be providing you with the word of the day, which I challenge you to insert into every opportunity when you speak. I will also be listening for filler words and crutch words such as you know, right, and those variants of crutch words, and I'll give a report on that. And I'm also going to be listening for good usage and bad usage of grammar, and we'll call those out at the end of the meeting. Today's word of the day is paltry. Paltry means tiny, small, ridiculously or insultingly small. For example, by the time I get my paycheck and the federal government gets its hands on it and I pay my bills, I am left with a paltry sum in my bank account. That is your word of the day, and I challenge you to use it whenever possible. Mr. Toastmaster.
All right, that's a great word of the day. I really like it. However, I will tell you that there will be nothing paltry about our meeting today. It will be very grandiose. So I highly recommend people to use paltry, but not to consider our meeting to be a paltry one. All right, so next we will talk about our general evaluator. That is Mr. Jim Lowry. So tell us what the general evaluator does, and please introduce your team to us, Jim. Thank you.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. The general evaluator keeps an eye on the overall meeting and does a report on it at the end of the night. But I don't do this alone because I have the evaluator for the speech. That will be Shankar Ponsale. We have a timer, which I have it listed as Michael Holmes. Is Michael on the call, or do we have a different timer? Looks like we're going to need another timer. We also, part of the team is the word master grammarian who's listening for good uses of the English language, as well as filler words, which he's already explained. And I will call upon each of them to bring their report toward the end of the meeting. Mr. Toastmaster, do we have someone to volunteer as our timer?
I think Donna would be a great volunteer.
That's what I was thinking.
Another job.
She might have some colored pens to hold up. Wow, that one just disappears. Forget that idea.
Would you be would you volunteer? Can we volunteer you to be our timer this evening? All right. Do you have something that you can indicate the different times with there, Donna?
You know what? Guys, I've been away so long, you're going to have to remind me on the timing on this speech.
Well, that will be the individual speech. We'll find out from Pam in a moment what the length of her speech will be. But if table topics, all the table topics are 1 to 2 minutes, and the evaluations will be 2 to 3 minutes. Pam, what is your speech tonight?
It's the Icebreaker, so it will be 4 to 6 minutes.
4 to 6 minutes. Awesome. Okay.
I think what I'm going to do is first set my phone off, but I don't know. Do y'all want paper? How do y'all want me to do it? How are y'all normally doing it?
They've been doing Zoom backgrounds, green, yellow, and then red.
All right, we're not going to do all that. No. So I'll come up with something in the meantime.
I was waiting for that. I knew you weren't going to quite be ready for that one yet. So
I'm in my husband's office, so he doesn't have all the good stuff I do in my office.
Yeah, see, we work with we have all these technologically advanced people on our Zoom call, and when it comes to our time, I just try to hold up a Post-it note that hopefully comes even close to the color it's supposed to be. Okay, this pink is going to be red. Okay, everyone. Yeah, Dr. Pepper can. That's.
Donna, one thing, if I may, you're free to use your phone, and if you Google an image or DuckDuckGo an image of red, yellow, or green, you can always just flash a phone.
I'll do that too.
All right. Great advice, Antréa. I like it. All right. So, Pam, I know you believed that you were going to have a little bit of time before it was going to be your turn, but we are now going to start easing towards yours. I don't have any type of information on your speech. I don't have a topic. And other than it's your icebreaker, You have been a member of our group for how long now?
I have attended, I want to say 5 sessions.
Okay, but you have been a member for longer than that, right? Didn't you join? You actually joined us before the crazy Rona hit, right?
I did, yes. And then I took a break for 3 months as I was adjusting to life and having my kiddos home. I returned last month, and that's it.
Okay.
5 sessions total that I've attended.
That's great, but I am so glad that you're going to get kicked off now and work down your pathway. Which pathway are you working on tonight?
I have not picked one. I believe it's just the general to get started with the icebreaker that I have selected this far.
Okay, great. Well, that's good news, is that all of the pathways require you to do an icebreaker. So whichever direction you happen to go, then that is going to work out for you. You'll still have your first speech under your wing already. All right, so we will not delay any longer. We will allow you to go ahead and get started. And thank you so much for attending tonight, and thank you for getting started on your pathway. So Pam, take your icebreaker away.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Good evening, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. I don't know about you all, but this icebreaker activity has been a tough activity for me. This is my second time doing my icebreaker, and I have to admit I did not prepare just as I did for the first time around. For me, it just seems easier to work with material that is given to you versus talking about myself. So let me introduce myself. My name is Pamela Gauna. I heard about Toastmasters 5 years ago from one of my university instructors as I was taking college courses with Texas A&M. Although it sounded like a good opportunity at the time, I decided to pass it up due to my fear of public speaking. Now here I am again, taking advantage of this opportunity. I am trying to take small steps to overcome this internal fear that I know can keep me from being a better version of me. Public speaking is definitely a need in my current position. I work at Northeast Lakeview College as a coordinator for high school programs, where I support high school students interested in dual credit. Dual credit is where a high school student can enroll in a college course and receive simultaneous academic credit for the college and the high school course. I would like to share with you that this line of work, working in higher education, has been a goal of mine since I was in high school. Working in this current department is actually the cherry on top for me. Not only do I get to work with high school students, but I also have had the opportunity to serve as NLC's foster youth liaison. In the foster youth liaison role, I was able to participate in trainings that provided me with knowledge and tools to be able to support the few foster students that we started out with. And I was able to collaborate with staff across Alamo colleges. I would like to share why this has been a memorable experience in my life. At the age of 12, my aunt adopted my siblings and me. I am the oldest of 3. The focus in my aunt's house at the time was not education, which looking back, I understand she had 5 kids total to provide for while maintaining her home. During my sophomore year in high school, I participated in an Upward Bound program. The Upward Bound program provided me with year-round academic support while in high school, while preparing me for entrance into college. During my participation, I met a counselor who became my mentor. Till this day, she is my mentor and godparent to my sons. She has motivated me, guided, and supported me through the difficult times in my life, which added to me continuing my education past high school. She has been a role model for me through my different stages of life, and I have valued her mentorship. With this brief insight into my past, I hope that in my current position, I can provide meaningful mentorship to the students that I serve. That high school experience that I had during my youth, I'm certain that other students are experiencing that and probably worse, and I want to be a support for them. And although I am no longer serving as the foster youth liaison for NLC, I am a department champion where I will be able to guide students, direct students through their college experience. And that is pretty open to traditional first-time in college students or foster youth students. Not only do I want to be a good mentor for the students that I work with, I also would like to be a good mentor for my 2 boys. I have 2 boys. I'm a mother of 2. I have a 10-month-old and 1 8-year-old. I have 2 pet schnauzers. One is 9 and one is 10. They're getting a little old. I had them before I had my 8-year-old, so we love them dearly, and they are members of our family. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. For my education right now, in my current position, I am also still being inspired to continue my education. I am working on my bachelor's degree. It has been difficult for me to pursue my degree while parenting and working full-time. Working in higher education is definitely a daily reminder for me, and I want to ensure that I am modeling what I am practicing in my department as I work with students. And that is all that I have to share with you today. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Appreciate that information. That was always great to learn some perspective on where someone came from, why they do what they do, and what their passions are. So thank you so much, Pam, for sharing that with us this evening. That was really great. That is just another one of the examples, I believe, of how everyone that I have seen in this group, whenever they do their icebreakers, we just learn so much more about them, why they're in this club, and really what they're all about. And that's really what the icebreaker is supposed to be. And I think everyone has embraced that very well in this group. So thank you once again, Pam, for sharing tonight. All right. Did you know that there are 3 major power grids across the United States? There is the Eastern power grid, there is the Western power grid, and there's Texas. Texas has its own power grid, and in 1935, the Federal Energy Commission was put in charge of overseeing all power grids across the country. However, Texas being Texas said, no, we'll have our own. Therefore, we are not subject to federal regulations. Just another way that Texas said, sorry, don't want to participate. However, that is still the case today. While there is deregulation, the power grid called ERCOT is still a Texas legacy, I guess you can say, from really another era. So pretty cool little information there. All right, now we are moving on to our table topics. We have been teased just a little bit. Teased with our table topics. She has got some very in-depth information, some very strange questions tonight. I'm intrigued. Mrs. Table Topics Master, please share with us those wonderful questions that you have.
Thank you, dear Toastmaster. Dear Toastmasters and guests, it is my privilege tonight to be your Table Topics Master. Table Topics is the session, the portion of the meeting where we're given the opportunity to practice some of our impromptu speaking, and I will be your host tonight, calling on members as well as guests. Do we have any? No guests. Well, anyway, you're going to be given a topic and you'll be speaking for a minimum of 1 minute, maximum of 2. And table topics is a crucial element of Toastmasters because it allows us to think on our feet and to improve our improvisational skills. But honing this ability is not easy. So that's why we provide more opportunities for us to be able to do that so we can become better speakers and improve our communication in general. Well, I don't want to just do any table topics because this month is August. August is Black Business Month. Yay! As a Black businesswoman, I would like to do a little something different. That means because Black business owners account for about 10% of the US businesses and about 30% of all minority-owned businesses. According to the US Census Bureau, that means that about 2 million companies are Black businesses. That's quite a lot, but we don't always know what that means or what the implications are or even what companies those are. So we're going to talk about that a little bit tonight, since nearly 40% of Black-owned businesses are in healthcare and social assistance, repair and maintenance, and personal and laundry services. Other categories include advertising firms, auto dealerships, consulting services, restaurants, barber shops, beauty salons, and more. Donna, you're going to take on a new Black business client. Which service would you want to market and why? I'll repeat the categories again. They're advertising firms, auto dealerships, consulting services, restaurants, barbershops, beauty salon, healthcare, you name it. So you're going to pick a Black business client, which service, what are you going to market and why?
Well, thank you, Miss Antréa. I am really getting thrown into Toastmasters in a lovely way, and I appreciate all of you guys. My choice would be a barber. In fact, we have one in our city currently. We have 2 Black-owned barbers in our city, and they both struggled through the COVID, of course, obvious reasons. However, there are some really good guys that are in there, and they're independently owned, but 3 ownerships pretty much have funded this business. So they have asked me numerous times to help them along in marketing some ideas, but I would love to take that with what I do at work, and I would totally revamp what they've got going. You know, guys, sometimes they don't think like women. I'm not saying that all guys that own a business, Shankar, don't get mad at me, that we have great ideas that we could help them out. And so I truly believe with their name of Crew, and that's C-R-U-X, Barber Lounge, I could come up with some fantastic marketing that they haven't even begun to think of. They have a great clientele and they do great business. They are well known in our city, and I think it would be an easy task to help them market.
That's awesome, Donna. Thank you so much for shedding light on this business as well, giving a spotlight to them. They're called Crew.
Crew Barber Lounge. They are at 8142 Shin Oak Drive. Come by and see them. There's 8 to choose from, and they all do fantastic fades and anything you need.
Shankar is going to get a fade next month. Awesome. All right. Very cool. We're not going to recognize it.
Get a part put in. It's easy. You don't have to worry about where your part falls.
I don't know if he'll let me go that far, but we'll try to get him over there. That would be interesting for sure. All right. Speaking of hair, in 1910, Madam C.J. Walker became the first self-made woman millionaire in the United States. Madam C.J. Walker came up with a remedy for her own hair loss after she began to experiment and develop a system of washing her hair and applying an ointment in which her hair began to grow back. I find this to be very, very fascinating because it's unbelievable, but she told a reporter that a big Black man came to her in a dream and told her what to mix up for her hair. Some of it came from Africa, but I sent for it, put it on my scalp, and my hair began to come in faster than it had ever fallen out. Harlan, you've invented a new hair product. What are you selling and to whom?
I have invented a new hair product. And what am I selling and to who? That is an excellent question. I would have to say that there are a lot of folks out there that certainly use hair growth products because you see a lot of them that may be follically challenged. So that would obviously be the answer that you would think most people would want to have. However, some people just do not like the way their hair is, period. Myself, I have lots of cowlicks. And whenever I go to the barber, they always say, yes, the cowlicks are not your friend. So that can go across, I'm sure, any type of person. And therefore, I would try to find that recipe that does away with the dreaded cowlick and sends your hair into all different directions whenever you are sleeping or not, because that cowlick can have all kind of minds of its own. It goes one way, it goes the other. It doesn't care what you want. The cowlick is in charge and lets you know at all times. So my new creation is the relaxer of the cowlick. It allows the cowlick to completely go away, and therefore now you have control of your own hair. Miss Tabletop Master.
Thank you, Harlan, for the cowlick problem solver. Craig, you are the man who came to Harlan in his dreams to tell him about this creation for this product. What was it that you said to him when you appeared in his dreams?
Harlan's dream, I came to him and I looked at the top of his head and I said, damn, son, you have got to do something with that. You cannot let this go any longer. And then I got to thinking of all the paltry little tricks that we could do. And I came up with a chemical solution, oddly enough, with stuff you can just find around the home. A little of this and a little of that. And I'm just keeping it very vague because I don't want to give away Harlan's recipe. He's got to trademark that and make a living off it. So I want to make sure that no one else gets a hold of the formula. But I talked to him sometime about the chemical nature, and I know a little bit about hair with these flowing locks. I was able to discuss with him the finer points of cowlicks and why they exist and how they exist and what we can do with them. And I think it seems like he's taken my advice to heart, and I wish him continued success with his product. I'm Tabletop Master.
Thank you very much, Craig. I'm going to continue down this fairy road because it is great. Historically, braids in Black culture have been worn as a way to distinguish social statuses, religions, creativity, and overall identities. Braids also played a very important role in the survival of African people during enslavement. Many African women braided rice, seeds, and sometimes gold into each other's hair. They did this in case they were captured, sold between plantations, or planning a brave escape so they could at least have a small amount of food for sustenance. Seeds and gold could help them build a new life. So, Julie, what are you going to braid in your hair as you travel and create a new life?
Oh, Antréa, how did I know I was going to get this one? Oh boy. Well, Madam Tabletop Master, I am going to braid something very strong into my braids, kind of like Rapunzel, so that if I had to use it to carry things, yes, or maybe even let down to provide a way across for somebody or a way up for somebody, I could. Because you never know in all the travels where you might be. And it could be used as a rope, definitely. And a rope with good things inside too. So definitely perhaps twine I would braid it with. So it would be very strong, Madam Tabletop Master.
Thank you, Julie. That's an easy question. I'll get back to some simple stuff here. But you guys know how I love hair and culture and Black businesses, so we have to combine them all together. All right, what you see behind me is a picture of a soup from Harlem. Among cities, New York has the most Black-owned businesses in the US, followed by Atlanta. The highest ratio of Black-owned businesses is in Washington, D.C., where 28% of all businesses are Black-owned. The growth of Black franchise businesses has been explosive. Shankar, you're looking to start a new Black business. What city do you choose and why?
Dear Madam Table Topics Master, what city would I choose? Well, I would probably compare a heavily Black populated city to any bigger city here in Texas, because I would not want to leave Texas for this new venture. However, I'd be willing to do some research in other states, and I have already had the chance to look at Atlanta, which was indeed very interesting. I liked it quite a lot there. The food was good, but I was happy to come back to Texas after our short trip there. Now, again, we cannot have a paltry population of Black citizens in the city that I would choose. That would not be wise. I think there is a lot of money to be made in the Black hair and beauty segment of that business. So I would probably try to see which other city in Texas has a bigger population of Black citizens. And my guess is that maybe that would be Dallas, but I actually really don't know. Thus, I need to perform a market analysis before I would do that, which is what a lot of businesses don't do. But me being a savvy business owner, I would totally do that before pursuing any other endeavor than Shank's Web Development. Madam Table Topics Master.
Well said, Shankar. It's almost as if you're very informed about the Black beauty and hair industry. I can't imagine why that would be. It is a multi-billion-dollar industry. It's almost as if you're exposed to it every day. But that is true. There are several cities I can think of, Houston and Dallas, to name a few, where you would probably seek to start your new Black business from here, because you're not leaving San Antonio. All right. Okay, tech marks the spot. Who do we have left here? 2. Okay, let's see. Jim, Williams Capital was among the underwriters of one of the largest US tech transactions. The $28 billion IPO of Snap Inc., Shankar's probably wondering why I didn't give this question to him, is the parent of the mobile app Snapchat. What do you love or hate about Snapchat?
What do I love or hate about Snapchat? What do I know about Snapchat? I think they spell it with an S and CH somewhere in the middle. I have no clue what Snapchat does. I can think maybe it has to do with taking photos that you apply some caption to. So that might be good based on the name, but I haven't a clue. And when it comes to social media in general, my biggest problem is with people. If you post a nice photo of some kittens, 3 people are going to say, oh, those are nice kittens. And 2 people are going to say, I hate cats. They all ought to die. There's just way too much negativity. And if Snapchat is a social platform, which I fear that it is, I wouldn't like it because it's got people on it. And people are so negative. Why don't they just say, oh, those are nice kittens. What a great barbecue pit. Oh, look, that's a nice camper. Why do they always have to be so, find something wrong with it and say that? People drive me crazy. So I avoid things like Facebook, Snapchat, Zoom, Toastmasters, too many negative people. Madam Toastmaster, Table Topics, master.
I love it. Jim, you are so savvy. Yes, indeed, Snapchat is a social media platform, but the pictures that you post actually disappear unless you take a screenshot. So this is something a little bit different. And apparently there's all kinds of, anyway, doesn't matter. Good answer. All right, Pamela, you're the last person here. Among the top Black-owned businesses in the U.S. is Coca-Cola Beverages Florida, LLC. Did you guys know that? Do you like Coca-Cola, and why or why not?
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. I do enjoy Coca-Cola. I probably enjoy it too much. I have tried to slow down on my intake of soda beverages and stick with water, and I can't do without coffee. So those are my two drinks that I try to stick with on a daily. I do enjoy a Coca-Cola whenever I have pizza. It seems to be a must during that time. Pizza or chocolate are my two items that I have to have Coke with. Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Excellent. I want to thank you all for going with the flow and answering these questions about Black-owned businesses that you may not have a clue how to answer. For example, with things in your hair to go somewhere. I don't know how easy it is to answer that question off the top of your head, but we all did it. And it's just to kind of bring awareness to the fact that there are a lot of Black-owned businesses right now, and they are actually really suffering because they will probably not live after COVID. So if you are conscious and you think about who you're purchasing from, especially if they are local, please do consider the ones that are not going to revive, which in this city are Black and Latino businesses that are going to struggle a little bit more. Yes, Donna.
Way, either Netflix or Amazon has the Madam C.J. Walker movie. So y'all need to watch it if you haven't watched it. It's really good.
Awesome. Shankar and I are going to watch that movie this weekend.
You're welcome, Shankar.
Mr. Toastmaster.
All right, great. That was some great topics. As always, Antréa, you do a wonderful job. Thank you so much for bringing attention to Black-owned businesses and having some outstanding questions to mix in with there. All right, so I kind of missed the timers report earlier. I was in such a hurry to get to our table topics. So I will go through the complete timers report. Please give us a timers report on Pam's initial speech and then all of the table topics. Please, Mrs. Donna.
Well, absolutely, Harlan. I appreciate everything. Everyone had really great answers. Timing was perfect in most of these, so you all did really well. We'll start with Miss Pamela. Hi, Miss Pam. I've never met you, but welcome to Toastmasters. Pam's icebreaker was a total of 5 minutes and 42 seconds. Absolutely wonderful. Great. Perfect. Right in there. Her table topics, we'll just start with her since we have her up, was a little bit shy. It was 46 seconds. And as you know, it's 1 to 2 minutes. So even though my archaic signs were up and down, I apologize. I will be ready for this next time. I was going to be a evaluator, so Mr. Harlan. Also, Harlan, let's get him, since he is the man of the hour. He was at 120 for his table topics. Not too bad, sir. Craig, you came in at 118. Also, you're a champion. Miss Julie, also a champion, 106. You came in there and you knew that was it. You just were perfect. Shankar, you were trying to be so Shankar. So 144, congratulations. And Jim, 123, as always, our prime master of all Toastmasters there. So that was it. Guys, you all did a wonderful job on your timing. Sorry again for my archaic signs.
That's all right. Great job, Donna. Thank you so much. Sure appreciate you taking the time to be the timer and being so adjustable in your role. Appreciate that very much. Don't mess with Texas. We've all heard this little catchy phrase. It's being used as all different kind of things today. You see it on shirts, you see it all over the place. But did you know that originally in 1985, this was created by an advertising agency as a anti-littering campaign? That is where Don't Mess with Texas came from. I remember this very well because I was in high school at the time, and it was a big, big deal. They had a series of super humorous commercials that went with all of this also, and the phrase was so good, it's caught on. It lives with us today and still is used for anti-littering, plus many, many other things. It's just one of those tough Texas sayings that just lives on and on now, which is really cool. I will now turn our meeting over to our general evaluator. He will use his role to not spread any paltry information, but very in-depth and awesome information. Take it away, Mr. Jim Lowry.
How could there be paltry information about such a wonderful, fulfilled meeting? In order to help me with the evaluation of the meeting, we're going to start off tonight with the evaluation of the speech. Our first evaluator is Shankar Ponsalay.
Thank you, Jim. Well, dear Pamela, before I go into some faulty problems that you had during your speech, I do want to tell you that I've been observing you and your participation over the past meetings, and I have to say, I like your posture. I like how you position yourself in the camera. You take this very seriously. It is almost a formal character that you have when you speak. I could picture yourself as a commenter during a trial, for instance. And I like that very much. It gives our meetings a very professional feeling. So even though you mentioned that you are terrified of public speaking, I can tell you that throughout the meetings and throughout your roles, nobody can tell. I could tell a little bit more during your speech today, but I think it's all in your mind. You did something very smart in your speech, which was you made sure that it was relatable. You outlined the reasons why you chose to join Toastmasters, and you combined it with some personal goals that you have in your life. You gave a good picture of your personal situation, which allowed the viewer to relate to you and to see and understand who is Pamela. Now, I would like to challenge you next time to just have a few keywords on a sheet, and when you present your speech, make sure that you hit on all your keywords. That is really all you need to do this in a way where it is not noticeable that you might be reading a little bit too much from notes, which I believe is what happened today. But again, for a first speech, that is really just a paltry issue. I would say, Pamela, what impressed me most and what I like most about your speech is that you failed at some moment, you lost your train of thought, but you didn't panic, at least we couldn't see it. You did not give up. You stood up and you continued and you finished your speech and you accomplished your speaking mission. And that is all what Toastmasters is about. That is what is going to make you a great speaker and a great leader. Dear Mr. Evaluator.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Evaluation is a very important portion of a Toastmasters meeting. Madam Timer, may we have a timer's report on Shankar's evaluation?
We do. Thank you again, Shankar, as always, you do such a great job in really laying out the whole skeleton, whether it's paltry or whether it's very large information bits. Can I get a credit for that one? Anyway, your time, okay, Harlan, I see it. Your time was at 2 minutes and 56 seconds. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you.
Excellent time. And our next item in the evaluation is no paltry work of art. Please help me welcome our word master grammarian, Craig Sprout.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. I'll start with the grammar side of things. I hear a lot of, this is a phrase I would like to eradicate. I would like to. Heard a lot of, I would like to. I would like to tell you. We know you'd like to. You don't need to elaborate. I am telling you. I will tell you. Let me tell you. I caught a couple so's. Don, I got 3 ums from you. Pamela, I got 3 ums from you. Harlan, 2 ums and a so. Everyone else looks pretty clean. As far as word of the day, we have tie between Harlan and Shankar with 3. Jim is right behind with 2, and Donna and I with 1 apiece. And that, Mr. General Evaluator, concludes my report.
Outstanding. I find the word master to be a difficult role to fulfill because you're so wrapped in listening to what people are saying that you can't hear what they're saying. A lot of concentration in that one. It's now time for my general impression of the overall meeting. As Toastmasters, we like to start on time and end on time, and I have to give us a thumbs up for starting. We did really well. The Toastmaster, who was the presiding officer, went through the agenda right up front and made any adjustments, although we did miss that we were missing a timer. But we corrected that pretty quickly. I do have to make one comment about the role of the timer. It is important that the timer signal the speaker for the entire time that it's green or the entire time that it's yellow, and leave it up red until they shut up and sit down, because the speaker is generally not looking at the timer when the timing item comes up and goes away, and then they've missed that they were doing green. The overall feel of the meeting was outstanding. Our table topics questions were thoughtful and full, gave us a lot to think about, and everyone got to participate, and that's really a good role of a Toastmasters Club, is to give everyone an opportunity to talk and get our nervousness out. I have nothing else to say that would make this meeting go so much better. Loved our what do you call those when they do the first speech? I feel like
Icebreaker.
Our breaking ice. I love icebreakers. We get to learn about people. After the icebreaker, they start doing speeches about important stuff like businesses and moving to Louisiana. Who knows? But great job. If this meeting was just like this next week and the week after and the week after, you guys are on to a great, not start, because been at this a year. Did you know next week is your 1-year anniversary? It's coming up. That's all I have as your general evaluator. I return control to either the Toastmaster, or are we going to give it to Shankar?
Toastmaster first.
To the Toastmaster, Harlan Pickett.
Right. Thank you so much, Jim, for that great evaluation, for going through everything there and getting us to this point. Did you know that there's only one place on this earth that has a town named Earth? And that would be Texas. Texas is the only place on the planet that has a town named Earth. It has a population of around 1,000 people. It is up north and west of Lubbock and the Panhandle, real close to the border of New Mexico. I cannot tell you there's any redeeming value other than it is the only town named Earth on this planet. And of course, it is in Texas. I will now relinquish my role as Toastmaster and turning it over to the ending officiating officer, and that will be Shankar Posole. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you so much, Harlan. I don't quite know why I have the honor tonight to end. Is there something you need me to do, or do you just like to mix it up a little bit? I do have a few things to say. I am very impressed with your ability today to build in a theme into your Toastmastery, because that is something that Jim has been preaching to us, and it is indeed taking it to the next level. You gotta be at a very elevated level of public speaking so that you cannot worry about keeping structure and hitting the points, but also weave in a theme. That is not a paltry feat indeed. Now let's look at our poll here for the best table topics of the night. I can see in a moment that we have a first place that goes to Craig. Craig, great job, Craig. Very funny indeed. And then our second place goes to Donna. Donna, congratulations. I can now proceed to the filling of the next agenda. If I can have a few roles here filled, I know that the most challenging roles here are typically speakers to fill, but you are lucky, they are already filled. So who can I put down for the Toastmaster next week, please? How about Donna?
Well, Craig's waving his hand.
I saw Craig, yeah. Sorry.
Because
Wag.
it's virtual, it disappears like this.
Exactly. So
And Donna too.
I'll do WAG.
Donna does Wag. Thank you, Donna. And then who wants to, I have Pamela as the timer, and then who wants to do a general evaluation?
I'll do a general too if you need me to.
Well, let's first see if everybody gets a piece of the pie, Donna. I appreciate it, though.
I'm so excited to be back, Shank.
I understand. Why? Well, why don't we give that to Julie? Julie, would you be our general evaluator next week? Yes, I see hat nodding. That's cool. Thank you so much. And then we need an evaluator 1 and an evaluator 2. Someone for Harlan and someone for Tammy.
I'll do it. I'll do a general evaluator since I didn't get to tonight.
I just had a question really quickly because Laura and Tammy aren't on the call. I wonder if, do we already have 2 speakers? Did Laura already move her speech to this next week? She did, right?
Yeah, so we have the speaking roles filled. I am sure Laura wouldn't mind evaluating Harlan, though. So I'm going to put her down for that. And then maybe Pamela, oh, she's timer, so just one more evaluator that is needed. And
What did Laura do, though? Did she try to move it to next week? Tammy and I actually already had those slots. So I don't have a problem pushing to another week, but if she was going to do that, there wasn't a space for Laura to move to next week at the time she would have it. It had to have been 2 weeks.
Oh, you mean you want to leave the speaking slot to Laura?
I don't know. I don't know what her intentions were. Since she couldn't speak this week, I don't know if that's what she thought she was going to do, is just move it to next week, but there were no slots. That's the two things that were taken, because Tammy and I are the only 2 that went through and filled up the whole rest of the calendar.
Yeah, so maybe do you want to just flip it then with her?
I don't know what her schedule's like is my point. If she needs to do next week because she's free, then I don't have a problem pushing mine and changing that. But I'll coordinate with her. We can go on the officer's thread and get all that arranged, because all of us that are involved in that are on that thread.
Okay. Okay. Well, and then did I forget? I forgot myself, so I can be an evaluator number 2. There we go. And then next meeting, we'll let Donna do the general evaluation, since that was her ask today. So I will set that for you in advance, Donna. All right. Well, this is everything that I can think of. Do we have any other announcements or comments for tonight?
I want to thank Jim for all of his mentorship and leadership while he's been here. I mean, I know you got one more meeting to go. This is my last time being Toastmaster, so I was definitely going to have a theme tonight, because you have been preaching it all along, and I figured there was no one else to do a better Texas than me. Sorry, Shankar, I'm from here.
No problem.
But thank you, Jim.
Yes, Jim, I think everybody agrees with that, and thank you on behalf of all of us. And I'm sure there's going to be a few more words for you next week as well. With that said, I would like to conclude the meeting and wish you all a very, very nice evening. Keep safe and have fun.
And watch Madam CJ Walker, as Donna said, and support Black businesses. Okay, bye.